Hi everybody, this is Lee from Fresh Astrology. Welcome. We are on Friday, September 8th, and there's a lot going on in the natural world. We have all these events stacking one atop the other, and when I looked at today's chart, I can kind of see how that's happening. The pattern in the today's chart and just kind of where everything is fixed right now, everything's like all the planets, the sun and the moon, they're all locked into this very actually beautiful pattern, although it may sometimes things that don't feel beautiful at the time are actually beautiful, and that's a hard, if you're going through something really tough, sometimes it's difficult to see that, and we've talked about this concept a lot. And this in no way, just talking about today's chart and the fact that it seems beautiful in no way is meant to diminish the suffering that people are going through out there. We've had, Harvey, we've had massive flooding in other parts of the world. We've got Irma coming in, and Irma's created already so much devastation in its wake. And then we have an earthquake, of course. And I don't know, it's been buried in the news because of many other things going on right now, but there's a massive solar flare that's occurred this week in conjunction with, by conjunction I don't mean in the astrological sense, I mean timing wise, in conjunction with and concurrent with the full moon and all these other events. And so, like I said, things are stacking one on top of the other. A solar flare is not really talked about much as an astrological event. Of course it is, although it's little talked about, but it's definitely a physical event. It's physical in the sense that it's a real observable thing that happens on the sun's surface. Massive amounts of radiation leave the sun and ripple out into our solar system and impacting us. Within, they kind of guesstimate, but anywhere from 24 to 72 and even beyond hours out from the event, the radiation waves move through our atmosphere and the earth and us. And I think it's not often studied what impact that has, but certainly we can imagine there is one. It's a very strong physical event, just like an earthquake, just like a hurricane. It's just not, it's invisible, So anyway, I think what this makes me think about in terms of how we can frame this, or the way I'm framing it, if you choose to do so, you can frame it this way too, but what all these events make me think, especially the way they stack up and the way the news cycle is now and the way we're all connected through our phones, so immediately through our phones, through all the different avenues, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the myriad channels we can tune into to connect instantly. Increasingly, I see our world and us like a giant beehive, and we're the bees. Actually, I think the bees are more than just us, but definitely humans are more and more to me. I can see how we're like bees. We're like bees in a beehive. And especially, it's so evident now with our phones, because bees, what they do is they communicate very quickly, almost instantaneously, seem to communicate large amounts of data, and then they all galvanize and respond in a very orchestrated way. And I think this happens with us. And if you just look at Harvey or any of these events, you see how suddenly across the globe, governments, individuals, people, sort of as a totality, all of humanity seems to respond. Like, look, people in Texas are in danger, people in Mumbai are in danger. Let's quickly organize to help them. That's what bees do. They organize very quickly to help parts of the hive or population of bees that are in trouble. And they message very quickly to make this happen quickly, and they all orchestrate and come together. And I think we can see it with bees. Sometimes I think when people, in the aftermath of tough events where we've had to galvanize and organize, we see this phenomenon take place, and it always makes us feel pretty good inside. Even though really terrible things may have happened, we see this amazing feat that humanity can do under these tough circumstances. We do suddenly come together as one organism, seemingly. Even if they're fragments broken off and they're not coming together, the mass majority, the vast majority, I should say, seem to come together like an organism to save itself and to save vulnerable parts of itself, which are other single humans or groups of humans and areas of the world that need help. And so this is just what's coming to me today. I see the organization in the chart, the amazing synchronous organization going on in today's chart. Everything's so tightly aligned. Everything is in this beautiful pattern of close alignment. And this is when things tend to happen quickly, and we see a lot of big things going on when things are tightly aligned like this. And it reminds me of the synchronization of bees and wasps and this idea of the hive. And I think, you know, our world, Earth, is a hive, and we're all the bees in this one hive all together. It's not multiple little hives here and there. We're all in one hive. And we all, even though there's so many of us, and we, you know, there's people who seem so distant from us in other parts of the world, people we've never met, we're all in the same hive. And we have this capacity to, as a group, come together as one organism, which is amazing to think about. And this is what I'm thinking about today. So I don't know if that helps you as you're observing everything that's going on, but I believe a lot of us, even if we're not directly impacted by the earthquake or by Harvey or by Irma or by any of the other events we're observing and thinking about, we seem to be more and more doing this en masse. So everyone together is observing the same thing, whether we're in it or not, and we're all having these internal responses that I believe more and more are synchronized. And it gives us an incredible amount of power and the ability to completely organize and have lasting impact in the decisions we make as one organism. So it's fascinating. I'd say in this time when we may all be kind of in this synchronization, to listen to your deep, like when maybe sometimes it feels like the quiet voice, like the little voice that says, do this, or don't do this. That quiet little voice. Some of us are more tuned in and it's a little more clear. Some of us it's just like a little tap on the shoulder. Often the messages from what seems to be a higher wisdom are very simple. They sound like, don't fear, don't worry, have faith, take heart. They're very simple messages. And sometimes they'll have a very simple directional message like, call this person now, or make this small donation now, or don't worry about, you know, this or that, be at peace. So listen, and usually you can get into kind of a meditative state or go out into nature, and we're a little more open and receptive to these little shoulder taps. And this is the messaging that's really coming through our global hive. It will steer us in the right direction if we're in a place of peace at the moment we hear it. So if we're in a state of panic, it's very difficult to understand what that larger knowledge is. Panic and responses to fear aren't always our best guides. Our best guide is when we can calm ourselves down and then listen. So this weekend, as you read the news, as you deal with aftermath of any particular event, through any sadness or despair or just anxiety, see if you can find just a few moments of quiet and be in that moment, wherever you find it, whenever you find it, and notice the peace that comes over you, just in a little moment when you can quiet yourself. And in that moment, listen for any little whispery instructions. Are usually very peaceful and they're very calming. They're not alarmist. And they have, if you know you're listening to wisdom, if it's soothing. If it's agitating and feels alarming and like you have to react quickly, it's not the same wisdom. So you have to be kind of in a peaceful state to hear it. And then whatever the message is will feel peaceful. So try that just here and there. There are things to attend to. There are emergency situations that we have to respond to intelligently. That's a part of the hive organization too. You know, right now, if you look at the aerial photos of people exiting Florida, it's as though they're a bunch of ants in a line. It's almost insect-like, the way people are moving away from the danger. So thinking about the bees, we're bees and we're all in one hive. See if that helps you understand something about where you are in this moment and how you connect to the whole, and see if that helps you, you know, get perspective on what's happening right now. This is what occurs to me today. All right, take care, guys.